Hi BL enthusiasts, this is Highlights Review Part 2 of Episode 14 of ABO Desire. The series brings us right into the thick of things with Shaoyou at one of his most vulnerable states. He's entering his susceptible period, which for an alpha after permanent marking is no small matter. To prepare, he applies the inhibitor patch 2 days earlier than usual, thinking it would help him stay in control. But here's the problem. Control is the very thing that's slipping through his hands, especially with Huayong constantly at his side. Huayong is more relentless than ever in this episode. He's like a cat, clinging to Shaoyou, sniffing the back of his neck under the excuse of checking product quality, since the company they work for, X Holdings, literally controls the global market on pheromone inhibitors. This move is clever, it's flirty, playful, but also a constant reminder of how close their worlds are tied, both professionally and intimately. Shaoyou tries to push him away with cold words, even threatening to fire him if he doesn't stay at least a meter away during work hours. But Huayong, ever the shameless charmer, just laughs it off, leaning into the banter and even teasing about needing his salary for future family plans. What's so interesting about this exchange is how it flips the workplace power dynamic. Normally, it's the boss harassing the employee. Here, it's the other way around, and Shaoyou's reactions give away the truth. He's not just irritated, he's flustered. His cold demeanor cracks with every second Huayong hovers near him, showing us how much Huayong gets under his skin. The pressure builds during a video conference when Huayong's presence finally becomes too much. Distracted, restless, and battling his own body's reactions, Shaoyou loses his patience and kicks Huayong out of the office. Huayong leaves dramatically, looking back every few steps with that signature grin, like he knows victory is inevitable. And honestly, he's right. For Huayong, time is on his side. He knows the bond between them, especially after the permanent marking, is only going to pull Shaoyou back in. All he has to do is wait. Meanwhile, the subplot with Shaoyou adds some heavy tension in the background. His arrival at the company, filled with resentment, ambition, and reckless desperation after losing millions in gambling, contrasts sharply with the intimacy unfolding between Shaoyou and Huayong. Shaoyou is plotting, imagining ways to take over the family's empire by removing his elder brother. This looming threat hangs like a storm cloud, even though the core focus of this episode stays locked on the romantic and physical turmoil of our main couple. The turning point arrives when Chen Pinming, Shaoyou's loyal secretary, alerts Huayong that Sheng has locked himself in the lounge for hours during his susceptible period. He's not answering calls, not responding to knocks, and the isolation door makes it impossible for anyone else to sense what's going on inside. But Huayong isn't anyone else. His connection to Shaoyou is instinctual. Even through the heavy isolation, he catches the faint scent of rum and wood, Sheng's pheromones breaking through in waves. That moment says it all. Huayong's link to Sheng is so strong that he can pick him out even through barriers. This scene is beautifully done because it highlights both vulnerability and intimacy. Huayong doesn't hesitate, he demands entry. When he finally hears a hoarse voice from inside telling him to come in, it feels like a door opening not just physically but emotionally. Chen Pinming, who has watched this relationship unfold quietly from the sidelines, realizes just how deep Sheng's feelings for Huayong truly are. The show even reminds us of the little details. How Shaoyou once signed Huayong's name by mistake, how he secretly read every letter Huayong sent despite pretending not to care. These callbacks are powerful. They tell us this isn't just physical attraction, it's real, consuming love. When Huayong enters the lounge, the pheromones are overwhelming. Shaoyou lies there, consumed by the heat of his susceptible period, unable to maintain the cold and controlled image he tries so hard to protect. Huayong's approach is tender but possessive, almost reverent. He touches Sheng gently, speaks to him softly, and teases with that same confidence he's shown since the beginning. But there's a difference here. This time, Sheng doesn't push him away. He calls him closer. The dialogue is layered with both vulnerability and desire. Sheng, struggling to keep control, still tries to act indifferent, saying he'll consider missing Huayong if Huayong asks for it. Huayong doesn't let up, leaning in and whispering, urging him to admit it, to feel it. The dynamic here is fascinating. It's a push and pull between resistance and surrender, between pride and the raw need to be close. What makes this scene stand out is the balance between mythic imagery and raw emotion. The narration compares their connection to ancient stories of oceans and sea snakes, temptation and surrender, giving their bond a larger-than-life, almost sacred quality. And yet, in the small details, the brush of eyelashes, the heat of breath, the whispered words, it feels intensely human, intimate, and grounded in love. By the end of the episode, it's clear that Huayong has broken down the last of Sheng Shaoyu's defenses. The workplace banter, the threats of firing, the cold words, all of it collapses in the face of their bond. Huayong sees Sheng not just as the powerful CEO but as a man vulnerable to love, to need, and to him specifically. And Sheng, despite his pride, can no longer deny that Huayong is the one person who has become indispensable. Episode 14, then, is about surrender. Not surrender in the sense of weakness, but in the sense of finally allowing oneself to love fully and openly. Sheng Shaoyu has been fighting himself for so long, fighting his instincts, his emotions, and his attraction. Huayong has been patient, persistent, and unashamed, waiting for the moment Sheng would stop running. And now, with the susceptible period breaking down every wall, that moment has come. What makes this episode such a highlight in the series is how it captures both the intensity of ABO dynamics and the heart of a true romance. The susceptible period could have been portrayed as just physical, just about pheromones and biology. But here, it becomes a stage for emotional revelation. It's not just Sheng Shaoyu's body calling for Huayong, it's his heart, his entire being pulling him in. And Huayong responds not just with desire but with care, with affection, with the certainty of someone who knows they've already won. To wrap it up, Episode 14 is a masterclass in building tension and release. From the playful harassment in the office, to the desperate isolation in the lounge, to the final surrender in each other's arms, this episode shows us the evolution of Sheng Shaoyu and Huayong's relationship. They're no longer circling each other with teasing words and half-hidden feelings. Now, they're fully entwined, bound by both biology and love, and neither of them can deny it anymore. This sets the stage perfectly for what's to come, because while their love has solidified, the danger from Sheng Shaoqing still lingers in the shadows. But for now, Episode 14 gives us what we've been waiting for, Sheng Shaoyu finally choosing Huayong, not just with his body, but with his heart.